Hello everyone, welcome to the Week in Nintendo Land. When it comes to Nintendo news, we've got you covered. In this episode, we're going to be talking about the new Pokémon Sword and Shield DLC Crown Tundra, Super Mario Bros. 35, and the new fighters unveiled in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. And to talk about it, we've assembled a crack team of some of the Switch players' finest team members. We've got writer Matt Jarvis, creative editor Jon Doyle, and art director Jhonatan Carneiro. Jonathan, Matt, John, welcome to the show.
Nice to be here.
So first of all, Matt, let's kind of talk about you. You're one of the newest team members on Switch Player. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
I've just had the second review for Switch Player published online today, so that's great. So it's great to be part of the team. Everybody's really supportive, which is fantastic. Just heading towards the grand old age of 42. Looking about 52, as I get told quite often. But I've been playing Nintendo games since about 1986. First game I ever played was Squish, one of the Game & Watch little open ups games and that, and I'm still waiting for the order of that to arrive. I do writing for a football website as well. Enjoy that. Like getting out walking, like photography, astronomy. Got a fair few hobbies going on, and just been playing a lot of the games during the lockdown period, particularly when I was on furlough, which I'm off now. But it's just great to be part of the team, and thanks for having me on today.
It's good to have you on board the team. And John, you're the creative editor. Kind of tell us a little bit about what you do for Switch Player and Ninty Fresh.
My primary activities involve sourcing artwork for the mag, so that includes cover artists, and that includes getting unique commissions, so approaching artists with a concept I've had and getting them to sketch it out, draw it, and then moving into the final phases to get the front covers done. I also do each issue's editorial artwork, and I do the retrospective artworks myself. And then on Ninty, I've got a bit more input. I help with the design layouts of the pages, do the welcome imagery. I source artists for front covers, for additional stretch goals, and people to work with in that. And I design Where's Waluigi, which is the many day long drawing section.
I know it's Sophie's choice, like choosing which one of is your favorite children, but do you have a favorite Switch Player cover?
I like the one we've just done, No More Heroes.
Yes,
which is here. I think it's beautiful.
Yeah, that's
there you go. Got it.
There we go.
It's almost as it was planned.
It was amazing actually, because when I went looking for artists, she approached me as being a big Suda fan.
Wow!
I think the match went together really well. Everything just fell into place.
It does look good. I like how you didn't choose your own cover, the Paper Mario one.
Oh.
That was very respectable of you.
Thank you.
and Jonathan, kind of. Can you kind of give us a little update on how Ninty Fresh issue 2 is going along? You kind of deep in production of that?
Yeah, sure. Well, we are working hard on Ninty Fresh 2. In fact, we were working on it for months, even before the Kickstarter went on. But of course, now that we have a set deadline, we are putting our hands on and our hearts into it. So me and John and Paul, we are every day talking about it and finding ways to improve it and adding content and hoping to make the second issue our better and our bigger issue ever when you consider Ninty Fresh or Switch Player. And I hope it's going to be amazing. And I hope everyone who backs it on Kickstarter likes it and enjoys it and gets lots of inputs and features that are amazing on both writing and design aspect.
Yeah, some of the stuff I've seen, you're kind of taking it to the next level. Like if people thought issue 1 was good, then they're going to be blown away by issue 2. And I guess we can kind of say, so that the Kickstarter is still live. It's fully funded, but you're kind of going for the stretch goals. I think it's just past 12,000 now. So what's the next kind of stretch goal? Of
15.
15, okay, yeah.
Once we hit 15, I've commissioned Oskunk. He's a famous French graffiti artist. He's known for doing imagery all over France. He's worked with several key brands, including Warner Brothers, PlayStation. There's a link on the Kickstarter actually to his website and some of his artwork, but he's exceptional, and he's going to design us a Captain Falcon print. Once we hit that goal, and that'll be given away with everyone who submits to that stretch goal.
Oh man, well, I want us to reach that stretch goal. I need that.
Yeah,
print.
so do I.
And if you do want to back the Kickstarter, I'll put a description. I'll put it in the description below, so everyone can kind of click through and back issue 2. So as I said, there's lots of news to discuss. But before we start, here's a little reminder of what's been happening this week in Nintendo Land. The 2 new fighters from the Super Smash Bros. Volume 2 DLC pass was revealed last week, and it wasn't Travis Touchdown or Tracer, as some had theorised, but Steve and Alex from Minecraft. After 3D All-Stars, Nintendo is continuing to celebrate its mascot's anniversary with the release of Super Mario Bros. 35, a battle royale platformer in the vein of Tetris 99. Pokémon Sword and Shield's second expansion, Crown Tundra, now has a release date, October the 22nd, and to mark the news, Nintendo showed off a new trailer, whisking you away to a new snowy setting where you lead an expedition exploring Pokémon dens and taking part in new Dynamax adventures. So Crown Tundra is coming this month, and the trailer revealed lots of new details for the Sword and Shield DLC. It's set in a snowy area that you are charged with leading an expedition to, where you'll explore Pokemon dens, and the expansion will also feature every legendary Pokemon from previous games. So guys, are we looking forward to this new expansion?
Yes, absolutely. Well, I know there's a lot, and there was and there is still a lot of complaints about Pokemon Sword and Shield, both when the original release and how they get rid of the national decks. And well, there's not all Pokemon, and now there's all the talking that, well, they removed Pokemon because now they are adding them via DLC, so they will charge more about that. And well, I know there's a lot of ins and outs when it comes to that discussion, but at least for my point of view, and considering what we got with the Isle of Armor, the first DLC, I think it is a better approach from Game Freak and Nintendo to like do the new game and then expand it with DLC instead of a third release like they did before with the Emerald, and before that the Crystal, and then Pokemon White and Black, like they had Black 2 and White 2, which in fact, when you consider what they added on those re-releases, and then you compare it with what they are releasing with the expansion pass with Crown Tundra and Isle of Armor, only Isle of Armor, it was already bigger and had more content and more new Pokemon and more new stuff than Crystal or Emerald or any of those re-releases. So personally, I think it's a good thing, or at least a fine enough approach on how to deliver new content and new experience for Pokemon. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I was going to say, so what was everyone's first impressions of like Sword and Shield? Because I'm a bit of a Pokemon like noob. I played Pokemon Red when it first came out, and then just skipped the entire series until Pokemon Sword and Shield came out, and I bought that. And I enjoyed the game, but I kind of felt coming to it fresh, like I loved the wild area, being able to kind of like walk around freely, loved that, and just felt restricted when you go back into like towns and cities. And I just found the kind of gameplay loop a bit repetitive. Like I felt like after I played it for 20 hours, I didn't kind of feel like I was going to get anything new from the game. So I kind of gave up. So I just wondered what everyone else kind of thought of Sword and Shield.
I mean, after you, sorry.
Sorry, John. Yeah, I mean, I'm like you, Alex. I'm a noob, to be honest with you. The first, believe it or not, Pokemon I played was sort of the Go Eevee. I just kind of let it pass me by for years. And yeah, I picked up Pokemon Sword, and I've quite enjoyed it. But I'd still say I'm kind of just getting a feel of it, and yeah, I think bits of it I kind of would agree that sometimes feel a bit repetitive and going around. But yeah, I mean, it's great to have the sort of expansion and a bit of a bigger world to get round. But I still find the big thing I still find with and this is about the Pokemon series, but just about Pokemon Sword in terms of the general game is just sometimes the graphical glitches in there. Just every day, whenever I play it, they still drive me up the wall. There's something that just some of the pop in, but yeah, the new expansion Isle of Armor was kind of okay. So yeah, this could be quite good. So I probably will give it a go because I'm sort of determined that I'm going to give it the time that I should.
And John, are you a kind of a fan of Sword and Shield? You said maybe you're not a fan of what the Pokemon series has become.
I feel that Sword and Shield. I mean, initially when it was announced, a lot of people went at the graphics, and there was a lot of kickback from Nintendo fans defending it, which I think was wrong. I don't know. I feel like we let Nintendo developers get away a bit too much because we like Nintendo so much. Because Pokemon looks a lot worse than it should, especially initially. I mean, it's aged better now, but as Matt said, there's still glitches even today. It feels like the product itself, to me anyway, has been deliberately edited for monetization. They could have easily, had another year in the oven, got the graphics design a little bit better, worked through the glitches, put a lot of the decks back in, added these expansions into the initial product. I feel like the entire process has been designed around a service plan, which is obviously following the route that other developers have been taking to split content over a period of time, because now it becomes more about monthly active users than it does that initial box purchase. You want to keep people engaged. And by doing that, you can split the content up, you can do DLC packs, and a lot of other companies use microtransactions. So I know that the process seems like you're getting a great deal because they're constantly adding content. But when you look at, they just announced I know it's John said that they didn't do a platinum version or a black 2 version. But what they've done is that retail, they've released a pack anyway, which is £90. And in order to get every Pokemon, you have to buy both of these £90 packs. I mean, I would have much rather they had done a complete release for a single payment. It just feels to me like the game's been over monetized deliberately. So yeah, I've avoided it entirely off my own principles, to be honest.
Yeah, because so Crown Tundra is part of this kind of like Pokemon, like this expansion pass. It's like $30, £27.
Correct.
So do you think that should have been included in the game already?
Well, yeah, because you have to buy both games and both expansions to have access to all the content.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So yeah, I believe that they've gone. They've taken this route purposely. I remember initially they said, "Oh no, we won't be doing a compilation at retail." Yada yada yada. Now there's a compilation at retail. It was always the same. We won't do this, and they do. And I feel like it was more so for engagement and money than it was for the benefit of the Nintendo consumers. But we'll defend it anyway because we like, Game Freak. We like Pokemon. I just feel like we let them off a little bit too much sometimes, and that's where we end up in these situations.
So no one's gonna. Are you gonna go? Has anyone bought the expansion pass? Are you gonna be playing Crown Tundra?
I'll wait for a complete edition, and when they do a complete version, I'll buy that.
John, Jonathan, have you bought the complete edition? Are you the expansion pass? Are you gonna be playing Crown Tundra?
Yeah, I bought it just before the release of Isle of Armor because, what John said, I can't really go against it. It makes lots of sense. Like when you look at the raid system and the Dynamax battles, that looks like it's something like you will go back to it every week because the Pokemon are always changing, and then you got chance to get a different Pokemon or a shiny or Pokemon like that. It looks also pretty similar to what you have with Pokemon Go. So it's obviously that they try to capitalize on that and bring people from Pokemon Go to Pokemon Shield and Sword. But well, about the Crown DLC itself, considering what they are adding, I think it's pretty cool addition, like if you consider everything else, because not only it adds a new region that if they are going with the same approach as they did with the Isle of Armor, I think it's a good thing because on the main game, the wild area was a nice idea. It's a concept that is different to Pokemon, and it's different than what you had before. But on the main game, it was more or less of a open area with very little like actual game design going there. Like it's open and you go and you explore, and there isn't much different between like the wild area that you have on the first area of Pokemon Sword and Shield, and then the second region that goes after that giant bridge you cross in during the main story. But with Isle of Armor, they create the whole region. It was smaller than the actual map of Pokemon Sword and Shield, obviously, but it is a kind of wild area that has many different environments, all interconnected, and there are different paths that you can take, like there are caves and rivers and a desert. There are a kind of mountain-like area, and it is all interconnected and more like it's a region that makes more sense than the wild area in the main game. So if Crown Tundra is another area like that, which is our icy region with caves, and then there's that big tree they showed in the trailer that is different than what we have seen in the main game. So I think it's interesting enough for players of Pokemon Shield. And then there's obviously that new different raids, a new raid system that you will explore a kind of caves and a different region to get the different legendary Pokemon, right?
Yeah, like you say, like I feel like the wild area was a bit of a kind of missed opportunity. When they kind of first announced that, I had kind of visions it was going to be like Breath of the Wild, it was going to be a huge open thing, and you could just kind of go, like explore, see, like go into different towns, and the reality was a bit of a disappointment. And I guess they kind of listened to fan feedback then, and kind of with Isle of Armor, they did kind of open it up a bit more. And I think Crown Tundra is going to be the same. I think it's going to be like a more of an open kind of open world, kind of open map for kind of people to kind of walk around in, which I think would be cool.
Yeah, and we like. Sorry, after you.
Yeah, no, yeah, I think there's going to be, yeah, like you say, open it up, so bit more exploration. It kind of felt that, kind of from playing it, and as I say, even being a newbie, that at times the open world felt kind of very unopen. You still felt you were kind of being led in a certain direction, and you kind of hit a wall and then come back, and it just kind of felt very, it was kind of cold open, but it just doesn't feel like that. So with Isle of Armor, and then hopefully with Tundra, there's going to be that opportunity to actually explore a bit more and be a bit more, maybe like the game with advertisers being in the first place.
Yeah, like John said, I think it needed like another year of polish, because it did feel very unfinished. But another thing they're also kind of adding is a new tournament called the Galarian Star Tournament, where you can kind of like featuring gym leaders from the main games and also the Isle of Armor DLC. And it's quite cool because it looks like you can kind of team up with characters and take part in double battles, which I think is kind of an interesting addition to the game.
Yeah, absolutely. It's another thing that they can, and I hope they showed a little bit of a hint about that in a way that the new the fighters that you are taking on and fighting together, they will have new dialogues, and they will talk more about their relationship. So it's something that they can improve on the original story and narrative.
So what we're saying for Crown Tundra, like excitement levels muted for now. Kind of see what it looks like when it's released, and then maybe kind of buy the expansion pass, buy the complete pass, John.
Maybe pick it up. I don't know.
Wait and see.
It's a controversial opinion, but I think that Pokemon Go is the most important thing to happen to Pokemon since, I don't know, in decades. I think and this for me felt like a slight step back. I mean, Go Eevee could have been so much more than it was, but it failed to live up to the promises. I mean, this idea of incorporating the concept of Go in with a handheld game, I think it could be perfect. It just feels like they didn't deliver on that one, and they kind of took a step back again to try and go a more traditional route, whilst also trying to incorporate to appease the shareholders by making it into more of a service-based content based on engagement, monthly active users, because an engaged user is more likely to spend more money, and that is why they add the raids. And like John said, you come back each week, and somebody that's always online, somebody that's always engaged is more likely to buy new content passes, etc.
I guess the future of that, we got like Pokemon Unite coming up, which is like the game from Tencent, where it's like a MOBA kind of aimed at the kind of Chinese market.
It terrifies me that Tencent have this. They're starting to get this market space. It terrifies me that they're gonna. I'm proud that Japan at least protects Nintendo, because I really fear that there's this opportunity for Tencent to just buy so many of these gaming companies. This consolidation of the industry is really scary. I mean, we had it recently with Xbox buying Bethesda. I mean, it sounds like a fantastic idea now until you really look into it, and then you realize that once all these devs are consolidated, the industry can then be pushed into a direction that they see fit. I mean, Tencent has the rights to the distribution of the Nintendo Switch in China. It's the only Nintendo Switch console that's region locked. The store is locked. You only have access to specific titles that they approve. There's this. Tencent tends to be heavily involved in this over monetized model of content, and that it concerns me that they're getting into bed more and more with Nintendo for products.
So it's going to be.
Sorry.
No, after you.
I was just going to say it just feels a little bit with the Tencent thing, like John was saying, that, and it goes with the Pokemon thing, that it just feels like a little bit lazy. It's kind of like the captive audience out there, so we'll just aim for that captive audience. For the least we'll get the most reward from the least effort, and we see that with different. You could say that about things like FIFA, but it does feel a little bit like that. And I'm with John with Tencent. I think that road, and again the kind of Xbox thing, going down that road, where I think you're going to start. You're almost saying, we'll move away from quality and we'll just go for mass produce that's going to sell the most, and then. I think gamers ultimately it'll be kind of, it's great at first, and then it'll be like the industry could then head on a bit of a dangerous slippy slope, and it's at such a good place at the moment that I think just needs to be a bit of careful watching out there that it doesn't get taken off the wrong road.
What do we see for the future of the Pokemon series? Because we've got Pokemon Unite, we've got Pokemon Snap coming out maybe this year, next year. Where do you kind of see it moving? Is it going to be evolving more into like a game as a service, or are we going to see kind of more standalone titles?
I think game as a service and mixed in remakes. So Diamond Pearl, maybe re-releasing some of the old classic games like Gold and Silver, a bit spruced up, and then using the mainline titles as service products going forward, to be honest. I mean, the mobile market is so massive. It encapsulates 90% of the gaming market's revenue. It's obvious Nintendo will go after that as well, I believe, with Pokemon games. Pokemon Go was such a huge success. I feel they'll incorporate those into probably the future, really.
Yeah, that's hard because like the Pokemon franchise, from what I see, or at least how Pokemon fans look at it, it's a franchise that it's hard to change things, or at least the most basic things on it, because like fans, they are nostalgic about Pokemon. They like the first generation, the red and blue, Pikachu, and all that. That's another reason, because they are always coming back to remakes and remasters of the first titles, or reimaginations at least. So unfortunate, I agree with John there that we kind of see the two approaches, like with remasters and remakes, and then a mainline title where like fans say that you want the decks, national decks and all Pokemon, so you will have this one game that will evolve with time, and with time they will be adding the new Pokemon, the new generations, and new monsters, both old and region locked, like new Galarian or new Pokemon from Kanto and other regions.
Yeah, it'd definitely be interesting to see where they kind of where Nintendo and Game Freak kind of take this franchise really. So let's talk about Super Smash Brothers. So we found out last Thursday that Alex and Steve from Minecraft were being added as new fighters to the game. I was quite surprised by the addition. There was lots of kind of rumors floating about. It was like it's going to be Travis Touchdown from No More Heroes or Tracer from Overwatch. But I never kind of thought in a million years it would be like characters from Minecraft. So what did everyone else make of this reveal?
I was underwhelmed. I think, to be fair, I think that's because I love Smash Brothers. I absolutely love the game, but I am terrible. I am absolutely terrible. The amount of mistakes I make still now playing that game, and I shouldn't be doing it. I shouldn't be. Maybe it's my age. I think maybe when you get over 40, you stop. Cognitive ability maybe dips. But I'm not a fan of Minecraft. I never have been. I don't know why. It's never sat with me. So I suppose the kind of announcement of Steve to me was a bit like, yeah, okay. So yeah, just not for me. I think with my feeling for Minecraft. Love the game Smash Brothers, and I do love the reveals of the new characters. But yeah, I was a bit like, yeah, meh.
I like the concept of Minecraft, and I like the concept of Smash. I'm terrible at both, so I haven't put too much time into either. I like following the Smash community though. They seem to be really passionate about the game series, and it's always great to see these new fighters introduced. I believe Nintendo once said that Minecraft was the game that got away. It was the game they wish they made, and you can't. The idea behind Minecraft is genius. I mean, and the amount of the audience globally that it's reached is exceptional. And if that brings new eyes to Smash and Nintendo, then that's great. So, I think it's a positive for the game, and it's good to see there's still a working relationship between Microsoft and Nintendo, to reach out to each other. Mind you, I can't imagine we'll see Mario on any Xbox games though. I think it's a one-way street with them.
Yeah. Maybe it'll be Master Chief. That'll be the next fighter revealed as Master Chief. But I think Steve, he seems like a really kind of unique character, one of the most unique fighters they've kind of had in the game, because previously we've had like Banjo-Kazooie, like Joker, seemed like quite interesting things, but it seems like they've kind of put a lot of work, Sakurai and his team have put a lot of work into kind of getting Steve and Alex to work in this kind of Smash Brothers kind of world. I mean, they said they had to kind of rework 110 stages to kind of make the kind of mining mechanic work, which is crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, Steve looks insane because it needs to work on every map, because in every map he will have different resources, because if it's a map based on wood platform, he will get more wood. If it's a starship, he'll get more iron. And these resources, he will use it not only to upgrade his character and get better swords and weapons, but to activate certain moves. He has that mine cart and the lava and magna power-ups, and most of those resources he needs to spend those what he mines in order to use that. It looks like a very hard character to use, in fact, and one of the most unique of every game, not only Smash.
I think like you say, he's going to be a unique and difficult character to play with. I also think he's going to be very difficult to fight against because there's so many, like when they kind of showed up when Sakurai kind of showed up the moveset, you got the minecart, the TNT, he can drop like fire off the edge of a map. So if you're trying to recover, you're going to get hit by fire. There was I guess the one downside to his moveset was he can't jump very high, so he can't jump up on platforms, so he has to build blocks to kind of get up to platforms. But apart from that, he looks like quite a strong fighter. So we've kind of seen quite interesting characters being added to the Smash Brothers roster, like Banjo-Kazooie, Joker from Persona 5. Funny, are there any other fighters you'd like added to Smash Brothers? Because I think there's 4 slots left in the Fighter Pass Volume 2. I know Travis Touchdown was rumored, but he's kind of been added as a he's a me kind of character now, isn't he? So that kind of like rules him out a bit. So any other characters we want to kind of see there? Maybe Waluigi.
I don't know. I think we see Waluigi a bit too much. I'd rather see less of him.
It's my man,
Waluigi. I'd like to see someone like Dante from Devil May Cry. Just somebody, from a more serious tone game would be quite cool.
With the first DLC set, we got like lots of wild cards, characters from hugely appreciated franchises like Dragon Quest, Joker from Persona. Maybe that's why Steve from Minecraft is a kind of letdown for many people. When it comes to these characters I would like to see, I'm about kind of nostalgic one, because I would go back to older titles, or at least franchises that are old and would have new characters added. Like even Nintendo franchises, I would like to see more representation, even though they even have lots of characters. But a example would be Captain Toad. Like Toad appears with Peach as a kind of bodyguard, but Captain Toad had its own game, and he has the potential to have a pretty unique moveset and to represent a new and cool addition to the Mario roster. And he would be miles better than Waluigi, for instance. And like Waluigi is one of the most requested characters. I don't like Waluigi at all, at least not for Smash.
So like we said, there's 4 slots left. I'm kind of thinking the next big game from Nintendo is going to be the Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity. Maybe it could be the 4 champions. Maybe could I get Mipha in there, Rivali?
It would be very interesting, like one character that changes. One thing that I mentioned on Twitter randomly, like it could be Impa from Age of Calamity, and like Impa in weird ways summoning the 4 champions with the Shika ninjutsus or something like that. It would be pretty cool.
Yeah, that'd be a very fun character to play as. Of course, another big franchise from Nintendo is Mario, and a big game that was released last week was Super Mario Brothers 35, kind of battle royale platformer, very similar in style to Tetris 99. In fact, it was kind of made by the same developers, Arica, and it's currently free to play for Nintendo Online subscribers. Have you guys played this? What do we make of it?
Yeah, it's addictive to say the least. Yeah, it's great. It's given a bit of, I don't know, a bit of breath of fresh air into Super Mario Brothers again. It's just, great game anyway, but just to pick up and have that challenge and play through. I mean, as soon as it came out, there you go. I was ready to play, and it was downloaded. And first playthrough, I just thought, I'll just go as fast as I can. That'll be fine. That'll be an easy tactic. And that didn't work. But it's amazing that. It's the 19th sort of time that Super Mario Brothers has been released in some form or another. But yeah, it just feels great. Yeah, very similar to Tetris 99 in the sense of the layout and kind of the way that you kind of have to use the right stick to kind of to focus on attacking people. It's just horribly addictive. It's one of those I'll just have one more go games, and and then at 3-4 in the morning you're still saying I'll just have one more go and get there, and I still haven't won one yet. Third, I keep getting third. I can't get one. I can't get first. I can't.
Same, yeah. Third place for me. I'm still chasing that first place finish.
Me too.
Jonathan, what do you kind of make of it? Are you kind of are you enjoying it so far?
Yeah, I'm loving it, and it's kind of crazy because Nintendo is kind of, usually at least, hyper protective with its IPs, and like Mario will always be a standard Mario game, either 2D or 3D, and Super Mario 35 looks like a kind of concept, an idea that you would see like a fun game that runs in your browser, and in 2 weeks Nintendo is going to cut it off because it's so weird and different and interesting, and it's a great spin on the classic Super Mario style, like much better than what they did like Super Mario 25th anniversaries. I recall that they released the original Super Mario All-Stars that was just the same game but with full prices, and like this is different. It's interesting. It's free. You have the Nintendo online system. And the only bad thing about it, at least for now, is that weird thing on Nintendo that, no, it's just for the Super Mario 35th anniversary. And then from March 31st, it won't be available anymore. It's weird. I don't understand that concept, especially because it's free. It's a nice reason for people to sign to the Nintendo Switch Online system. It would be great if it's available for more time, and maybe they will do like they did with the jump rope challenge, that they said it would be limited and they would remove, and when the date arrived, they kind of went out with that, and the game is still available and you can still download and play it.
So yeah, why do you think that is? Why do you think? Because again, it's like Super Mario 3D All Stars. That's kind of a limited release again. That's going to be kind of taken off of the eShop and available to buy it from March. Why do you think Why do you think they've done that?
Nintendo, they do the Disney technique. It's all about vaulting. It's all about vaulting IP to retain value. If you look at the 3D All Stars, if you look at any of the games like Mario 64, Mario Sunshine, Mario Galaxy, on second-hand market, they all sell for quite a high price. And it's the same regards how Nintendo never reduces its games in value. So Breath of the Wild today costs nearly as much as Breath of the Wild did when it came out. And in 20 years, when I try and buy a copy of Breath of the Wild on eBay, it'll probably double the price. And it's all part of retaining IP value. By limiting these games into periods, they don't let the games get to the stage where they have no users. And this confines the value of it, and it makes it seem more important. So they take it off the service before it loses those members. There's nothing worse than going onto a service game and you can't get into a lobby because nobody's playing it. Nintendo won't allow their products to get to that stage because they want to create this artificial illusion that a product is really high value after a period of time. Really, they should just keep it on there because, like John said, it's a great product for people that join up to Nintendo Switch Online. But at the same time, Nintendo are always balancing their intellectual properties, and they're probably the worst of all the gaming companies for this in terms of pricing, protecting IP. Next, I would say, would be PlayStation, and then last would be anything that has a subscription or a service, because that kind of takes that whole process and throws it out the window. So yeah, Nintendo's definitely the most locked down and traditional.
Yeah, even 1-2 Switch is still 40 quid, and that game is awful.
I was going to say, I went into game in one of the local towns, and there's not many game stores open. Sort of, certainly not around where I am now. I think it's the only one. And a few weeks ago, I just kind of went in. I thought I'll just have a look, see the Nintendo, look at the Switch games, and I thought I'll pick something up second hand. And it was just like, Sonic Forces, for example, was still like 28 quid, and and then 1-2 Switch was like 45 quid in there. Breath of the Wild second hand was still 50 quid. And you just look at it, just like, and then you kind of have a quick look at the PlayStation or Xbox thing, and you look at some of the secondhand games there, and there's games on there for 10 quid, 15 quid, and you just look along the Nintendo line. There's just nothing at that price. It's just incredible, really.
What you have to bear in mind is the cost of goods to make a Nintendo Switch cartridge is considerably higher than a PlayStation or an Xbox Blu-ray disc. I mean, the cogs on a really small Switch cart is the equivalent of, I think, like an 8 gigabyte Switch cart is the same as producing 6 or 7 PlayStation 4 games, and that's even the smaller size. So the trouble is then when the game stores are buying the product at wholesale, they have a lot less margin that they can reduce it by. The only person that has control over this margin is Nintendo, but that doesn't excuse the fact why they don't reduce digital prices. There should be no reason why there is a priority there, but it's because they don't want to. They want to keep that value high. You going in and buying a PlayStation game for £5 at this stage, for example, PlayStation has made their margin back. Nintendo doesn't so much care about their margin; they care more about retaining the value of the product over a longer period of time. Because if you're going to sell, I think 80% plus of Nintendo's game sales are first-party software. PlayStation, I think they sold 130 or 40 million games, and of that, only 18 million were first-party. Nintendo's the opposite. It's nearly all of their games, so that's what they really care about, retaining this value of the product.
Yes, I kind of thought with Super Mario Bros. 35, I thought maybe it was to kind of like drive people to subscribe to the online service as well. Maybe because if they said it's going to come off soon, people will be like, I've got to sign up for the online. But I definitely think it's a game worth playing. Like what I kind of found about it though was it just kind of throws you in at the deep end. There's no like really tutorial or anything. And there's so much going on the screen. You kind of got 34 other players around you. Yeah. You've got a timer. Yeah, you've got the kind of you can control with the right stick who you're sending your enemies to. At the bottom, it kind of tells you what enemies are coming up. So there's so much to kind of like take on board. So it's quite an intense experience if you're just like literally just jumping into it.
A lot of adrenaline. I find it's a proper adrenaline game. You do kind of find your heart racing as you're playing. I found the same with Tetris 99. I got so addicted to that, and I've not played it for a while, but just because the kind of whole right stick and just sort of going for whoever you're playing against, I don't know, it just kind of, it really gets the heart racing. I think it's that keeps you wanting to play, because you're like, I've got to beat somebody. I've got to beat it. Yeah, that just one more. Like I said earlier, it's just, it's such a simple concept, really. That kind of thing that they did with Tetris 99, and now they've done it with Mario 35. What next? Zelda?
We're kind of lucky that they don't. We're kind of lucky that they haven't monetized this kind of addiction. It's rare they haven't. I mean, a lot of companies would jump on this, and they would have like a coin top-up system. You need coins to play games, and you have to buy these token packs. So at least they haven't done that yet.
I was expecting.
At least they're giving us the addiction.
Yeah. With Tetris 99, I was expecting that to happen. I was kind of waiting for it to come up saying, "Oh, you're going to have to do this to get more lives," or whatever it was. So it's kind of. It's kind of nice that's not happened.
There was a recent presentation by Nintendo. They had like lots of pages, and they showed it on internet, or if it leaked, I'm not sure. But on one of these pages, they were talking about the Nintendo Switch Online system, and they were talking about how they want to add value to that with new content and new games and new stuff being added. And like the Super Nintendo and the NES games are already that, because they are only adding stuff to that. So if you sign the Nintendo Switch Online now, it has more value than it had like 1 year ago or 2 years ago. And with Super Mario 35 or Tetris 99, they are these games that instantly it's more valuable for you to have the Nintendo Switch Online and to be able to play that game.
It's similar to PlayStation Plus, Xbox Gold. giving you products to incentivize you joining onto these services. Nintendo seems to operate about 15 or 20 years behind everyone else, so they're only just cottoning onto this.
Yeah.
That's probably why they haven't monetized these games yet. But the process you'll see next year with the anniversary of Zelda. You'll probably see Zelda themed content to push users to Nintendo Switch Online. They've got a lot of work to do. I mean, we don't even have a proper voice chat on Nintendo Switch Online yet, and their users are considerably behind everyone else's, especially PlayStation, Xbox.
Yeah, I kind of feel like, because I'm kind of like, Switch is almost like my secondary console. I've got like an Xbox, and I've also got PlayStation 4, but like, it's hard going between the two when you're so used to some of the features that Xbox and PlayStation have. And then, yeah, it does feel like Nintendo Switch is light years behind. Yeah, and like, as you say, in terms of like voice chat and stuff, where you've got to use a separate app to kind of talk to people. It's kind of like ridiculous, really.
It's good and bad, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, it's good in some respects. They're not over monetizing, they're not being greedy, and then it's bad in other respects because you're missing out on those tech advantages that you do with the other platforms.
I don't think I think I've used it once. The app,
I've
the
never
online
used it.
app. I've used it once, and it was just pointless. It was just absolutely pointless. I mean, it's even so much to the point that, I mean, if you want to use a Bluetooth headset, I mean, you can get some okay kind of, kind of get the adapters, but I mean, it's 2020. Having to buy an adapter to put a Bluetooth in. It's like, come on, Nintendo. The Switch is fantastic. We know that, and it's going to be around for many years. But it's like, come on, can we have a bit of Bluetooth, just at least, please?
Even how the app is at the moment, it feels to me that it was kind of idea and concept that Nintendo had on the release of the Nintendo Switch, and they kind of gave up on that because the app had that idea that some games you have more content and new features that you will be able to access from the app, and the app will enhance your experience. But when you look at the games that actually do that, it was just like Splatoon, Smash Bros, and Animal Crossing, maybe. And then there are many and many other Nintendo games that could do some use on that app or stuff like that, and they simply don't. So it seems like even Nintendo has gave up on that and is kind of ignoring the app, just like pretty much every single Nintendo Switch player.
Yeah, I feel like the best use of that app was definitely like Animal Crossing New Horizons. I think that's what I use the app most for, like scanning QR codes for like new design IDs and things like that. And just kind of like, rather than using an interface in the actual game to like chat, like using the chat in the actual app was just like, a game changer for me. But so obviously we've been playing, Super Mario Bros. 35. What else has everyone else been playing this week that's really kind of standing out for them, really enjoying playing?
Hades for me. Been playing a lot of that. It's just, it's one of those games. It just, that isometric view. It just looks beautiful. It plays really well. I mean, it plays well docked and not docked, and it's just one of those games that you can pick up and just, you don't really need to do a lot of thinking about it. You just have a good blast and go through and slash and hack, and there is obviously tactics that you need to use, but it's just one of those beautiful games that comes along, and you just want to play it and then go back and play it again. So that's the main game I've been playing other than Mario 35. Just great game.
I've heard so many good things about that game. Like I haven't heard a bad word said against it. Like everyone's like, it's like a must buy, like almost like contender for the game of the year as well.
Yeah, I'd go with that. I think it is that good. It's got, I'd say, that kind of old school isometric look, but it just, everything about it, the controls are responsive. It just flows so well. The performance is great. It looks good. It sounds great. It's one of those games that you just kind of think, it's kind of it almost is a 10 out of 10 because it's really difficult to kind of think, right, what is there that could be better? And I don't know. It's just one of my favorite games of the year. One of my favorite games of the year.
That's cool. Yeah, it's a thing with the indie market. is that there are some genres that are kind of oversaturated at the point, and the roguelike genre is one of those. Like there are tons of roguelike games on the eShop and or even on or other platforms. But when a like game does the gameplay loop in a kind of perfect way, like gets the gameplay right, has a nice and interesting graph just like Hades does, or like in previous years, Dead Cells is another example of that. It's those games that you can, just like Super Mario 35, you can take and try one run and try to get as far as you can. But if you lose, that's okay, because the game is good and pleasurable enough for the gameplay itself, right? And Hades did a great thing on PC before, because it was in early access for 1.5 years, more or less. And I've played a bit of it earlier, and they did a good use of the early access system, because it came out at first as a game with lots of potential, but it had a lack of content, really. It was short, there wasn't much for you to do or to progress. And Supergiant, across this last year, they were adding stuff and new content and new concepts, and they were tweaking the experience with new characters and new levels, new enemies. And now that the game was released, in fact, the final product is there. It is a perfect game for you to take on, like play on the go and play anywhere and play on short bursts, and or do that Super Mario 35 stuff that is, I'm going to play just one more run, and then you die and I can play another one and you go and continue doing that for hours. It's very good and unique.
The game I've fallen back into playing Rocket League, because that's now like free to play now, and absolutely love that game. Put so many hours into it already, but I'm kind of back now. And there's rumblings of maybe a Switch team kind of tournament maybe happening in the next couple of weeks, so I'm well up for that. John, what have you been playing? Have you got any kind of games on the backlog that you've been kind of getting through?
I mean, I've bought Hades. I'm a big fan of Supergiant. I'd love to have the free time to play it though, so that's on the agenda. I've mostly been trying my hardest to get all those stars in Mario 64, which it's an experience, isn't it? Like, honestly, I want to smash my Nintendo Switch to pieces with that camera.
Oh my god, yeah, that camera, Jesus, yeah.
Oh, it makes me feel ill. I mean, when I first put it on, I was like, I feel a bit queasy, and then I'm now in the volcano level. I just, honestly, sleepless nights.
I know. I played Mario 64 the other week, and for the first time, and I tweeted, and I did tweet. I thought, Mario 64, the camera, and John was the first person to say, "Is it,
it's diabolical."
I was like literally just sat sort of in this room, and I have a kind of second sort of a monitor screen rather than my big TV downstairs, just so I'm out of the way. And I was just, I was literally like, I'm going to give up on this in a minute, because it made me feel so ill. And obviously you persevere with it, and it's still a great game, but the camera, it's just like,
it's awful. There's one level, with the pyramids, and you have to where you have to kind of drop down onto certain platforms to collect coins
whilst a tornado chases you.
Yeah, and just like trying to rearrange the camera and trying to look where you're kind of landing, which is like absolutely impossible.
I'm half convinced that the camera is a plant by Bowser to make the game impossible.
Yeah, maybe, yeah. I thought they would have improved that with the kind of
they could have easily done an analog camera, but the port even has all the speedrun glitches nearly, so they've basically just grabbed and just dropped it into an emulator.
Yeah.
I did that terrible thing of doing the assumption thing, and as soon as I started playing it, I sort of started remembering how bad the camera was, and I just went for the right stick all the time. And I was just like, I'm just going to move the camera around. And I was like, it's not going to happen, is it? I was just like, no, it's still like it was in sort of when I was at university playing it. And, and now I'm playing it sober. So it's and it's still making me feel ill.
I feel like the conditions with all those, all the like playing the games since Super Mario 64, where you can move the camera freely, and now going back to that, I think it feels like it's even harder. When it first came out, that was amazing. You just dealt with it, but now it's kind of like there's so many other games that do it better. It's kind of really hard to go back to.
I think the level design is what sets Mario 64 apart. I remember when it first came out, buying it, and blew my mind. And obviously going back to it now, it's still, the level design is still fantastic. The concept is still incredible. Everything about Mario 64 is still timeless, apart from the camera. I mean, that sound haunts my dreams.
Yeah, it's too much. I was gonna go. I was like, when I started playing it, I was like, I'm gonna get all 120 stars.
That's what I'm trying to do.
Now I'm a little bit like, you know what? Maybe it's just time to move on. Just like
10, that'll be fine.
Yeah, it's just like get the stars I need to, and then move on to like Sunshine or Galaxy. Yeah. Another game that we might be playing very soon is the Need for Speed Hot Pursuit Remastered. It's kind of been rumored for a while. I think a couple of websites picked out, like Video Games Chronicle, but it's recently leaked online. Like the box art has been leaked by a Japanese retailer, I think, and it looks like it's coming to like PlayStation 4, Nintendo Switch, and Xbox One next month. Which is, I think it's sort of November 6th or around thereabouts. It looks like it's being made by Stellar Entertainment, which was the same team behind Burnout Paradise, the remastered version of that. And it's going to, like with Burnout, it's going to come with all the DLC, additional gameplay, 30 challenges, all the crossplay and things like that. Is anyone going to pick this up, or is it kind of another remaster that, no one's really that interested in?
Yeah, I don't know. For me, like I had a very specific time, which was around the Need for Speed Underground until the Carbon. And those games I've played like the hell about it. I've played and I completed and did everything that you could do at the time. But from those games on, and like the changes that happened in studios and all of that, to me at least, it feels like the Need for Speed games kind of became repetitive, and they didn't really bring anything new or interesting to the table, up to a point that nowadays I don't even know how to set apart all these Need for Speed games. Like Hot Pursuit, I don't even know the original. I haven't played it, and I don't know how to set apart from other racing games. Like EA re-released the Burnout Paradise, and that game was special. It did something unique.
He's gone again.
It's that expression. I think that's what happens. When he gets to that point, he freezes.
Yeah, when he gets really passionate about something, the internet's like...
Oh, is he? Look.
Oh, yeah, you're back. So you're talking about Burnout Paradise. You're saying with Burnout Paradise.
Yeah, like Burnout Paradise had that unique stuff with it, with the city and how it built lots of objectives, and the racings. You'd go to the city and you would learn the city's layout and all of that, and it was unique. It was different. And those other Need for Speed games, I don't know what they have unique or interesting. So this re-release isn't really something that appeals to me at all, honestly.
So yeah, anyone else? Are we kind of going to skip this one, or is it a day one purchase?
I know I'll buy it. I know I shouldn't. I love racing games. I've got so many. I've got both of the gear clubs. I've got Hot Shot Racing. I'm just a sucker for racing games, but I do love the Need for Speed games, and it's going to have all the DLC. It'll probably look great, and it'll be great to play on the go. and it's going to be 50 quid, and it's going to make me cry, and you know, the moths are going to have to fly out of the wallet again, and you know, I just know in the back of my head, as much as I'm going to say, I won't buy it, and then I'll just buy it, and I'll play it, and I'll probably play it to death. It's just one of those games. I just love those kind of games, and you know, that they're just enjoyable, kind of relaxing in a way. They're just, you know, yeah, just superb. So yeah, I'd like to say that I'm going to wait till it drops in price, but it's not. It's probably not. So I'll just end up buying it.
Yeah, I feel like with Nintendo games, it's just kind of like I don't even look at the price anymore. I'm just like, whatever it is, I'll take it. I'll buy it. I don't care. And on that note, that just about does it for another week in Nintendo Land. We hope you enjoyed watching and listening. And guys, John, Matt, Jonathan, thank you so much for coming on the show.
You're welcome.
Yeah, welcome. Cheers. Thanks for having me.
Oh, it was great to have you all on here. In the meantime, if you want more from Switch Player, you can visit us at switchplayer.net or support us on Patreon to get a print copy of the magazine that these guys work so hard on for only $5 a month. And whatever Nintendo news happens in the next 7 days, we'll be right back here next Monday to talk about it. So we'll see you then. Thanks very much for watching. Goodbye.